This is the ENGWE P20. It's an affordable 20-inch foldable e-bike, and for around about just over €1,000, it's one of the best value offerings if you want a carbon belt drive, a torque sensor, which this does have. Now, the rear hub motor, it's 250 watts, so it's legal here in Europe. There is no throttle. Again, that's something that makes it legal, and it gets us up to 25 kilometers per hour. That is the maximum assisted speed with 3 pedal assist levels. It has hydraulic disc brakes, 160 millimeter ones. The tires are brand tires from Kenda, and it folds in half really easy, which I'll be showing you in this video. Weight-wise, well, it's about 18.5 kilos, which isn't too bad, and it's removable battery, 9.6 amp hours. That can get us a range that they claim of up to 100 kilometers, and that's quite a bit for a 20-inch foldable e-bike. This bike rack that's included doesn't rattle. In fact, there's no rattling on the bike at all, which is very good. We get an included bike rack rated to 15 kilos. There's a small metal plate here. Now, what that is for the magnet that's on the front wheel to hold the bike together once you fold it in half. It uses a torque sensor, so we get that smooth power delivery and instantaneous, and the more effort you put in, the more power it will give you, up to 25 kilometers per hour assistance there, and the foldable pedals, which I'm not a big fan of. I prefer fixed pedals. I've had a bad experience with foldable pedals before. And here we have the 160 millimeter discs and the hydraulic disc brakes. Now, no branding on them at all. The tires, these are from Kenda, well-known, established brand, good tires, good tread pattern, and they should be good in the wet too. They're directional to get rid of that water. And note, with the front fork, there is no suspension here. That's to keep the weight down, which I believe is about 18.6 kilos, which is not too bad. Now, where we have the fold right here with the frame, they've ground down where the welds are and just where the seat post is to make it look a little bit more streamlined, but you can see some of the welds down here, and they look good. There's no flex in the frame. Latch mechanism is good. No play. It is very solid. Now, here at the back, we have an interesting design for the tail light, and it does incorporate indicators. The problem is that they are not very bright, so they're difficult to see during the day, but at nighttime, as you can see now, they're all right. You can see them at night, and it adds to safety, of course. The belt drive here is a carbon belt drive, and it's great for people that don't have a lot of climbs about. If you're mostly on the flat, your rides, then this is ideal here because you have no maintenance with these, and they should last for around 25 to 30,000 kilometers, these carbon belt drives. So the motor, 250 watts, 36 volts, and it'll get us up to 25 kilometers per hour. The chainring at the front, this has 64 teeth, and this aids in the top speed, which is about pedaling around about 26, 27. You can go over that, and you end up ghost pedaling a little, probably when you get to around about 30 kilometers per hour. The front hub here does not have a quick release, but the seat post does, and it caters to rider heights of 155 centimeters right up to 190 centimeters. Mudguards they have used, they are made out of plastic, so we don't have to worry about vibrations coming from metal ones, stone chips, or them rusting. Folding mechanism, like other bikes, does have a little security latch that keeps it latched into place, so you need to push that forward, pull on the lever, and then you can fold the bike in half. The front headlight is part of the frame and not the handlebars, so when you turn, the light doesn't turn with you, and that means it's not quite as good as having a light that is part of the handlebars. However, being part of the bike too as well means that it's always with the bike. You don't have to worry about someone stealing it, and it has a projector lens within it, and you can see it's reasonably bright. It does a good job of lighting the path up ahead of me. The handlebar is also foldable, and you need to just push up on this and then pull down on that, and the handlebar will then drop down to one side. And this is what it looks like when you do fold it up completely. Now I can drop the seat down further. That would reduce the size of it. And this is the key thing of why people would go for a bike like this, is because it's compact when you do fold it up. So this means you can place it in the boot of a car. Like right now, this is a small estate and it just fits in. So you do need a reasonable sized trunk or boot, and you could put it under a stairwell, or just for ease of storage. It's great that you can do this with the bike. And let me show you how easy it is to unfold the bike and get set up and ready for riding it. It only takes about 10 seconds or so. So you need to pull the bike out, unfold it like so, clip it in, pull the handlebar up, clip that in, and there we go. I am ready. That was very quick. The P20 is using lock grips, and they are comfortable because they have this palm support area, and the levers for our brakes do feel good being hydraulic. The screen is quite small. At the top, this is our power on. We have the mode button right here to cycle through the information, and up and down for our pedal assist levels. And here is the left and right indicators for the rear. So the screen here is a little hard to make out, but we do have our speed, there's a battery gauge and trip information. Now, it looks really clear, even in daylight. It's just the shutter rate of my camera doesn't agree with the refresh rate of the screen. There is another quick release, that is right here for the handlebar. And we do get a bell included. The battery, which is removable, you can easily slot it out, is locked into place. Now there's this little tiny gasket, this little rubber cover that goes over where the charging port is. On the other side, there is a little switch on and off. And if you keep those in place, it is then water resistant and it keeps the dust out. Now charging time is around about 6 hours for a 9.6 amp hour battery. And you simply need to insert the key here, turn that, and you can see that the battery pops out and you can then remove it. So does a small battery, 345.6 watt hours, 9.6 amp hours, and it's nice and lightweight. So this is the P20's habitat. City commutes, and just the short little trips A to B is what this is all about really, I think. And bike lanes. So there are a lot around this town, and it's very good for that. Now the bike, the kickstand, it's good. It's holding the bike's weight up. It's not adjustable, but they've got the angle correct. The bike hasn't toppled over or anything like that, so that is fine. And then getting on it, pretty easy. Now you can raise the handlebar height and the seat quite high too. So 155 centimeter short riders up to 190. Now I could probably and should probably put the handlebar up a little bit further there, up a little more. Now you've got those 3 pedal assist levels and a nice little screen that is quite clear, and the torque sensor, so the more you give it, the more it gives you in return, and you get that power delivery straight away. It's not like speed sensors where there is a bit of a delay. So ENGWE has done quite a good job, I think, with this bike, delivering at the about €1,000 price point. The torque sensor, the carbon belt drive, foldable design, all for that price point is really good. It's something we need. So it is, if you raise the handlebar up a little bit higher, quite an upright ride. You're not going to get a sore back. And just cruising along on the flat here in this bike lane, very smooth. Heading back now on the flat, pushing as hard as I can, pedaling, because we've only got a single speed. I can get up to 29 kilometers per hour because the chainring has 64 teeth at the front. That does help with the top speed, and I don't really ghost pedal, but my legs are spinning at quite a fast pace here, but at least it is possible. It has, I think, a decent top speed for the style of bike and a single speed that it has with the carbon belt drive. Now the P20 does not have suspension, so it's a front fork that is of course solid, so all these little bumps along the road here, you are certainly going to feel those. And it would have been nice if it did have a front shock, but then again, it's trying to keep the weight. They are trying to keep the weight down of this bike, so it in a way makes sense why they didn't do that. Still, it would have helped the ride and made it a little bit more comfortable. Climb test from the climb test spot that I test with all of my e-bikes and e-scooters. So we have a 250 watt motor, 36 volt system, 42 newton meters of torque, and a torque sensor. So far, so good. It's doing all right here. So I'll put some more effort in, gaining a bit of speed now. 16 kilometers, 15 around there is a normal kind of speed for climbing a climb such as this one, which is about a 20-degree climb. And I'd say I'm putting in around 40% effort, 60 is the bike doing the rest, and it is climbing a lot better than I expected for a 250 watt rear hub motor, single speed with the belt drive, so no gears of course. The ENGWE P20 has hydraulic disc brakes, 160mm, so from the white post, 30 kilometers per hour, full on emergency brake, and look at that. just past that line there, and I've triggered the dogs. So that's a good sign. Really good braking performance on this bike. It's one of the best so far. I'd say probably the second best that I've tested out when it comes to foldable 20-inch bikes. Really good brakes. You can stop safely when you want to, and plenty of grip from those tires too. Now, a little bit more on the range of what you can get out of the P20. The first bar, for that to disappear, I covered just over 19 kilometers, but then the second bar disappeared a little bit quicker. So in the first kind of look at it, you'd think, wow, that's fantastic battery life. And oh, at this rate with the battery bars, because there's 5 of them, I should be able to get 100 kilometers range. Now, the torque sensor does make it a lot more efficient too, because it's not always just 100% power on or off like a speed sensor. And that improves the range for these bikes. So really good that they do have that option. And my range is really about 60 to 70 kilometers, which is very good for this style of bike. But do remember that when you ride over 25 kilometers per hour, that you're not using the battery at all. So that can really extend your range. So the hydraulic disc brakes, no brand ones, but they work really well. It folds up very quick. The frame quality is excellent. And overall, I like this bike. I think for what it sells for, €1,000, just over, it makes this an affordable torque sensor 20-inch foldable e-bike, which is really something that the market does need, and they're delivering it right here with this model. Everything really checks out. I only have 2 complaints. One is the front fork does not have a shock. I would have liked to have seen that to make the ride a little bit more comfortable, but that probably would have added a good kilo or so more of weight to it, just pushing that weight towards 20 kilos. The other is the foldable pedals. I'm not a big fan of foldable pedals. I don't really trust them that much having a set brake on me. These ones seem all right, but I would end up swapping those over. And another one of mine is a minor nitpick. It's single speed. So when you pedal, once you try to get up to around about 28 kilometers per hour, your legs are going like crazy. So top speed really pedaling is what I've worked out to be about 26, maybe 27 kilometers per hour. But all up, this is a very good 20-inch foldable e-bike with the torque sensor, with the carbon belt drive that ENGWE has here. Thank you so much for watching this review.